Hello everybody, I'm Sammy from Team the Dragon Team here today. And today we're doing yet another interview and Decklist profile with Nick Campbell, who did well at Indiana States of Week 3, I believe. And
Yes.
he's been gracious enough to share us his list, his Night March Vespiquen list. And before we get too much into it, why did you decide to play Night March Vespiquen?
Um, my friend oh, Andrew Mahone uh, played a very similar list with for Michigan, and I usually go by what he says because he's a pretty good player. And I messed around with it a little bit. He had catchers in his original list, and I took him out, and I thought it did pretty well in testing, and I just went for it.
Okay. Alright. Um, let's see. Walk us through your states run. What did you play against in round one?
Round one, I actually played against the mirror match. I think he was a newer player because he did play some weird cards that I wouldn't see in a normal list. He played like um, Birch, the Birch that you flip a coin,
Yeah.
all cards. I think he played multiples of those because he like started with it like both games, like just I think both games we played and got tails, and it really screwed the power of the deck that could have been, you know.
What deck was he playing again?
He was playing Night March Vespiquen.
Okay.
Um, it just seemed like a pretty substandard list, to be honest. It just by the card, like usually you should just be playing like shamans and stuff, and he was playing Birch, and he didn't have I didn't see shamans until game two. Late in game two, he like discarded two of them because he didn't need them at that point. But yeah, he never saw shamans when he needed them.
Hmm.
Drawing through his deck.
He probably only played the two. Maybe he's one new player that didn't have didn't have 3 or 4 shaman.
Yeah, that could have happened too.
Alright. So this was a 7 round states, by the way, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just make sure. So what did you play against in round 2?
Another night march. Another night march. I just remember that game. The 3 games that we played came down to how many times one of the players could target whistle and Lysander as shaman. And game 3, he was able to do it twice to me with time puzzles. He was able to kill 3 shamans in 3 turns.
That's probably why they play the catcher.
Well, he didn't play catcher. He didn't play catchers in that list. It was.
Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, he played just He'd literally Lysandered 3 turns in a row, with plus 2 target whistles. One where he had in his hand, the other one was with puzzle times.
So that was game 1, correct?
No, that was game 3. Game 1 and 2 were pretty much similar. Not to the fact that one of the person that won had a target whistle to win with the shaman.
So came down to basically whoever can kill the most shamans won.
You pretty much.
Yeah.
How did you lost that round?
Yeah. You're 1-1 going into round 3. What did you play there?
I played against a Wobbuffet deck and Gengar. Like it was a Gengar, and you would switch into Wobbuffet.
Oh, Gengar! Wow, I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Was it the new Gengar or the old or the EX?
The EX one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that since like Cities of last year. Honestly.
Yeah. It was kind of annoying because he was able to start Wobbuffet both games, so it really slowed me down a lot. But
you play the unknown and the shaman, so that kind of is annoying for you.
Right. Well, the unknowns I can use to still draw, because they're psychic, so I can still draw with them. So I was still able to set up, kind of. I wasn't doing the crazy amount of damage that you could possibly do on turn 1 and 2 with the deck. But what really hurt him was he kind of drew pretty not well, but like after he had like a Juniper or a Sycamore on the first turn, and like he couldn't Shaman. He showed me his deck. He played 2 Shaman, and he had them both tied. Like he could get them, but he couldn't get the Wobbuffet out of the active to keep going, and it really stumbled him in the early game to set up like Gengar or what was the other thing he played? There was another attacker that he had besides the Wobbuffets and the Gengars, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't really think of any Psychic type Pokemon off the top of my head that would be good in a deck like that.
No, he showed me. It was it was the one that poisons them.
Toxicroak.
Yeah, he played Toxicroak too, and like a bunch of like energy removal cards. So he would like disrupt early with Wobbuffets and Zerosics and Flare Grunts. That was it was pretty interesting, but I was still able to 2-0 him just because Night March is crazy, and even with all the disruption, it's still going to come up on top most of the time.
Yep, Night March does Night March things.
Right.
So you're 2-1 going into game 3. Not game 3, round 3. What did you play there?
Or it would be round 4.
Round 4, my bad.
Yeah. Round 4, I played against a friend who was playing. He was playing Mega Manetric, water stuff.
All Regice, Articuno, stuff like that.
Yeah, Articuno stuff. Yeah, and Jolteon and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing that was different from like most things, he played 3 Silent Lab in his list, which was very, very difficult with the 2 hands that I had when I was playing against him in Game 1 and Game 3, because I needed to get a Shaman to get anything going, and he was able to start with the Silent Labs, and it really hindered my progress, because I don't play that many. I only play 1 Stadium in the deck, the
Parallel City.
Parallel City. So it's like if he ever got the Silent Lab, it's pretty much going to be out there the whole game.
Yeah.
But we tied. We had a really long game 1 because of the Silent Labs. I was still able to do enough to set up, but it was a really long. I would say it was like a 30-40 minute game 1.
Wow.
Yeah, and it came down to off a judge. Did I draw 2 puzzle times to DC Lysander for game, and I didn't hit it, and he was able to take the next prize. So he got the game 1, and then game 2, I was able to just do what Night March does. I was able to set up doing 180 every turn on my turn 1. Just battle compressor. Like I had 3 battle compressors, and then game 3, like I said, we only had like 4 or 5 minutes. Time was called when he played the Silent Lab, and my hand was not going to be that good, but I was able. We were going to tie anyways. He wasn't going to be able to
bench you?
Yeah, or bench me. So we tied. So I was 2-1-1 at that point.
Yeah, that's probably kind of a scary record to have 2-1, knowing that like you have no wiggle room, that you have to win the next 3 games.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
How was your game 5? Mikey, round 5.
Round 5 was, I didn't. At first, I didn't know what he was playing because he started with Flareon, and there was a couple Flareons. Like there was a straight Flareon deck going around in that tournament. So I thought I was facing that guy, and I didn't even know what it entailed. I just knew it played for Flareon and the fighting belts. But it turned out
to be,
as well. Yeah. It turned out he was playing Giratina,
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, he's playing Giratina.
With Reshiram?
The Reshiram's Giratina speed Giratina, if you want to call it that. Um, he had a pretty slow start in the game one, but what really took it over the edge is that he played 2 Enhance Hammer in his deck.
Ah.
So the game one he just rolled me because he played Enhance Hammers because he was able to knock off the one DC I was able to attach before he was able to Chaos Wheel, and then I really couldn't do anything about it. In game two, he wasn't able. He had a slow start. He had a very slow start. He didn't really see anything, but he was able to get off 1 or 2 Chaos Wheels. So I had to set back and Zerosic a couple times.
Yeah.
And the one turn he couldn't even like retreat it. He wasn't able to even get the one that gives him 2 retreat.
Double Dragon energy?
No. The one that gives he missed the Double Dragon, but he also couldn't even retreat it with
Hydreigon.
Yeah, he couldn't retreat it with Hydreigon. So that gave me a chance to knock out his Giratina.
Mm-hmm.
And that he couldn't get another one going at that point. And then in game 3, time was called. He goes first, starts Reshiram, passes, and I was able to get a turn 1 knockout with Joltik.
Oh, that was very fortunate for you.
Yeah.
Did you guys agree going into the game that if it came down to time, it would go down to prizes, or do you guys not agree to that?
No, we did not agree to that.
Okay, so that's good. It's especially good that you did that then. That you got that game won. That win.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we didn't agree to it. We didn't agree to it because time was literally called when we were shuffling, I guess, or whatever. It was time was called on his turn 1, or he would have been turn 0. He literally just drew his card. Yeah. So that's how we still were able to do the game 3. So he was turn 0.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we didn't really know how much time we had left. I didn't realize how long the games were. It didn't feel that long, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the one time I really felt fortunate to get the turn 1, because it's a little bit harder in this deck because the only way you can attack turn 1 in this list is to attack with Joltik.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit more difficult if you don't start with them. You have to draw more pieces.
Yeah, because you don't play the Dimension Value at all.
No. The only way you can attack with Pumpkaboo is either the mirror match, that don't play Vespiquen, or Trevenant. Those are the only 2 times you can attack with Pumpkaboo.
Or if you excuse me, sorry. Or if you really feel like attaching 2 double colors to a Pumpkaboo.
Yeah, which I did do once. I did do that once in the tournament.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, usually what I like to do beforehand, though, if I'm X1-1 or X2-1, if it's a top 32 situation, I do before we even start shuffling too much. I try to ask my opponent if it goes down to game 3 and time is called, and the other 3 games, it would go whoever has the most prizes wins. That's what I usually try to do. Or for equal in prizes, I try to do sudden death. Whoever takes the prize first wins. That's what I usually try to do.
Yeah, most of the time I'm not the one that will say anything about it because I'm just a little bit more paranoid because I don't know if my opponent's gonna be an a-hole about it or whatever, if I can say that, an a-hole about it.
That's fine. Kyle Thiecker was swearing like a mother when I interviewed him.
Okay, all right. But yeah, I just don't want to be screwed over, and they're like, he asked me to scoop to him and blah blah blah. I will only do it if it's I know them, like I've met them before, or this is because this is still a state, so it's not that big of a deal. So if it was like nationals, and then I'd be more inclined to do it because it's the biggest tournament. But at states, I'm not gonna. I won't ask anybody. for that kind of thing.
But if they ask you, will you agree to that kind of thing?
Would I do that? Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Yeah, I always try to do that if I can. Anyway, going back into your, you won that game.
Yes.
So you're 3-1-1. What do you play in round against in round 4? Not
Round
6. Yeah,
no,
my bad.
yeah.
My bad.
No, you're all right. What did I play round 6?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, this is. What did I play?
Night March?
No, it wasn't Night March.
Greninja?
No, it was something I haven't played all day. Oh, it was Evil Tall.
Ah.
It was somebody was friends with Kevin Baxter and played the same thing that he did with like the 4/4 Zoroark, double target whistle stuff.
I believe from what he told me, that he was playing. I believe he was also playing the Flareon Giratina Reshiram deck as well.
He played that the second weekend. The third weekend he played the deck he won with in Ohio.
Yeah.
The quad, the 4/4 Zoroark deck. I don't know what the name you would call that, but
Evil Zoroark, I guess.
Yeah. So I played against his friend that was playing the same exact 60 that he was playing.
And how was that?
He had a pretty what happened? There was one time what really hurt him. He had to attack. He needed a DCE, but to get the DCE, he had to discard two Zoroarks in the midpoint of the game. And since he did that, and that was I knocked out his last Zoroark, and he wasn't able to set up another big attacker to get me. He could attack with the Yveltal, the baby Yveltal, a couple of times for a knockout, but it wasn't. It was just not as good because of Vespiquen, because he was able to knock out two Joltics, and then he couldn't ever knock out an Yveltal again, or knock out a Vespiquen. Vespiquen was really hard for him to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty much both games. He just couldn't handle the Vespiquen properly.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. So, yeah, you win that, and you're 3-1-1, I believe. 4-1.
Yeah.
And going into the last round, you're winning in position. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. There's there was a couple Trevenants that were up at the top that I was worried about. Andrew Ramey made top that weekend with Trevenant. There was a couple of Vespiquen Vileplumes that were up there. That I just don't want to face against item that'd be the only thing I would not want to face against, because it's very difficult for that deck to even function.
Yeah, I've noticed that you've yet to play against any item lock decks at all up to this point.
Yeah, which I was very, very fortunate, because there was a ton there doing well. And then, the next round I play against, in the last round I play against Aegislash. It was Aegislash Bronzong. It had 4 Aegislash. But he also played the Stadium that -10. It was just literally a tank Aegislash deck with fighting belts and stuff.
Oh, interesting. That is an interesting list.
Yeah, he was doing pretty well. He was beat. What did he lose to? He lost the last. He was 4-0-1 at one point with the deck. Yeah, and then he played against the Flareon deck, which just destroys him, right?
Oh yeah.
And then I played him, and game 1 he got a warning, or I got a prize. He got a prize penalty, so I was able to take a prize because I had the Stadium out, the Parallel City,
And let me guess, put a Pokemon down and then evolved it.
No. He the Parallel City was out. He had 3 already benched,
Mhm.
and he shamaned and like drew 5 from it
Oh,
already.
that's even worse.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, you shouldn't have been able to do that, and I was able to get a prize penalty, which was insane because I played a town map before, so you're able to take a prize. Usually, you don't even get to take a prize like without looking at it, but it was crazy because I was able to set up another Vespiquen from that prize.
Oh,
Yeah, which
that's unfortunate.
yeah, and then I won that game because he wasn't able to shaman uh, at the right time to set up more stuff. And then in game 2, was able to set up a pretty quick Aegislash, which can be very very deadly against this deck. But especially if they have 220 HP, it's either I have to have like all my Night Marchers in the discard, or that's except one of them that's attacking.
And you also have to use Hex Maniac.
Yeah, and Hex Maniac, and that's what had to come down to the last 4 prizes was I did do 220 to an Aegislash while Hex Maniacing.
Yeah, Aegislash can be such a huge tank at times.
Okay. Yeah, so that's literally the only reason I won is I was able to set up knock out an Aegislash while Hex Maniacing, where he couldn't, and he didn't have another attacker to attack with on the next turn, which was pretty insane luck on my side of the field.
Yep, we take luck, we take luckiness, we take luck, we take those. So
yeah.
No, go on.
No, that was pretty much it. That was the last round.
And I believe Indiana was the top 8 in the second day, correct?
Top 8 second day.
And like the next day, you guys came back for top 8.
I did not. I got 10th. I was 5-1-1.
Oh, you bubbled.
Yeah.
What? Oh, yeah. I did actually hear that a couple people bubbled out of top 8 with the extra one in Indiana.
Yeah.
Because I think Indiana was even though it was a 7-round state, it was very close to like 8 rounds. To the point where like that's what happens when that many people.
There was 3 people. They needed 3 more people for 8 rounds at that tournament.
Wow. Yeah, that's what happens with stuff when you just need a couple more people to like do 8 rounds. Like that many people end up bubbling. Which that was unfortunate, but at least you did extremely well throughout the tournament. Even though a lot of people kind of are writing off Vespiquen Night March at this point. Because
if I was able to play it in other states, I would have played it again. I couldn't go to Ohio with family matters that happened, but I definitely would have played it for Ohio. I think in my personal opinion, I think it's a little bit stronger in terms of what you can do with the Night March list with the Vespiquen. That you got a little bit more things you don't have to worry about, like Wailord and Seismitoad. Those cards do the Vespiquen does very well against those cards. It also has a little bit better matchup against Trevenant because they can't just Eerie whatever his attack is like twice and they knock out everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit stronger in where everything else is not Night March. It is weaker in the mirror match because you have Vespiquens and they're not that great against the deck.
Yeah.
But other than that, if you don't think you're going to play against all Night March stuff, then I think it's stronger out of the two in terms of what you can do with the deck for Night March.
Fair enough. But are there any changes that you wish you did make or did not make to this list? This in general.
So the original list, before I even went into the tournament, I changed 3 cards. I had 3 Trainer's Mail, just before I even turned in the list, but last second I took him out for another unknown, just because I wanted another draw card, which technically still helps out with Vespiquen. I put a Zerosic in just because I was afraid. I was like, how many people are gonna come week 3 with that Giratina deck, right?
Yeah.
And that's, there's a slight chance that some people are gonna bring it, so I think I need a Zerosic in here, so I have at least somewhat of a chance against it to, if I get lucky against it. And then the other card I put in was let me look at the list real quick. It was it was the other Lysander.
Ah.
Yep. Yeah, because I just felt, I don't know, it just seemed like the right card to put in at the time, because I needed one more card.
Looking back at this multi-state season in general, I'm surprised, like you're saying, but you didn't see that many Giratina, so we're not expecting that much. I was kind of surprised that not many people were playing it to begin with. I guess they're just so scared of the Volto matchup, because that has been doing fairly well for the most part as well. Because Giratina,
yeah,
Giratina does get badly bodied by a Volto.
Yeah, I don't know. I really haven't played that much in the Giratina, but like the standard version of it against the I don't know, the new Zoroark one, but I think it could do pretty well against it if you can stop them from using DCs and you one-shot all their Zoroarks. It shouldn't be that terrible, I guess. But I don't know. It's especially with this. I really haven't put that much thought into standard right now, just because it's all expanded coming up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Expanded season.
Yeah. The regionals are the most important. The most, outside of Nationals and Worlds, of course, they're the most important, and they have the most fights online, and of course that's why a lot of people are more concerned about expanded than standard, because you only really need to worry about standard for cities, some LCs, and of course states. So that is interesting. Now let's talk about some of the things I find that the little weird things about your list. First things first, why the target whistle on this list, in this deck?
I think target whistle right now is probably almost becoming staple. Well, at least it was in the in this standard. It was staple just because so many games just came to how many shamans can I knock out, and you don't really care what they have active, and that was literally the best way to keep knocking out shamans. And even I was upset when the first states I went to, and I was playing Evil Tall, and I didn't have Target Whistle in there, and Kevin Baxter was telling me how good Target Whistle was, and I was like, I don't know, we'll see. And there's just so many times if I just had that Target Whistle, I could have been able to take a game quicker by knocking out a shaman. Like, I would have been able to use 2 time puzzles, discard it with Battle Compressor to, and then time puzzle it back and been able to knock out the last 2 cards. It just seemed like a really good card right now. I don't know. It's, the only deck that I can see that playing, I would not play it in, is the Vespiquen Vileplume for obvious reasons, but
yeah.
It just seems like the best card to play right now is a one of.
Fair enough. Why the 2 float stones? Why not a float stone and escape rope?
Mostly because I wanted if I wanted to attack with the Joltik on the first turn, having an escape rope, by not having the escape rope, I would have less chances of getting the Joltik active if I didn't have a Joltik. If that makes any sense. So I would, if I had the float stone, I could easily draw into a Joltik, put it on the bench, and I didn't need the escape rope. So it makes it a little bit more easier for me to get a Joltik active on the first turn, if that makes any sense.
Fair enough. And why Parallel City? Why not any Dimension Valley?
Parallel City is just to get rid of the because like I said, getting rid of your shamans, knocking out shamans is literally what this format has devolved into.
Yeah.
So being able to get rid of your shamans is what is going to win you most of the time in the Night March mirror matches or the Evil Tall Zoroark matches.
Fine.
That's getting rid of them is going to be the best way to deal with it. The Dimensional Valley, like, it'd be really cool to attack with the Pumpkaboo. It's not really needed that much because you have Vespiquen, you have Joltik. Most of the time that's going to be well enough, and you also have Puzzle of Times to get your Joltiks back. You'll have enough resources. You don't really need to attack with Pumpkaboo. Also, there's not enough. Obviously, there's not enough space with the Vespiquen line. So I just thought having one way if I was going to play any stadiums at all, I wanted to impact the board in some way where I don't lose the game, and where Parallel City does that. The Dimension Valley, if I would have played one of them, which was very close to being the Dimensional Valley until I was just like, the Parallel City is just going to be so much better so many more times. You can attack. You can pretty much attack with Joltik and it'd be fine. You don't need to attack with Pumpkaboo, and you have Vespiquen.
Yeah. And do you regret not putting the Dimension Valley in here?
Do I not? No.
Do you regret not putting it? The Dimension Valley in. Sorry.
No, I do not regret it. I think just playing the Parallel City was good enough. I could, like I said, whenever I needed to attack with Joltik, I could, or attack with Vespiquen, I could. It didn't really come up that often where I was like, man, I wish I could attack with this Pumpkaboo this turn, It never really came up.
Fair enough.
And most of the Vespiquens that play Night March don't really play the Dimensional Valley. It's more that you have enough power in your Joltiks and in your Vespiquens that you can just discard your Pumpkaboos and you're doing more damage anyway. You don't have to worry about it.
That sounds pretty. That sounds like that. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Like I do like when I was playing. I played Noivern. I played Noivern at Evolto Noivern at Illinois States, and I had the Dimension Valley so I could get rid of my own shamans as well. And I've seen other people play not Dimension Valley, but Parallel City for the same reason, to get rid of shamans on their side of the board. So that's pretty nice tech.
Yeah, it's I think the two cards in this standard format where it just shows that it devolved and just to knocking out shamans was the inclusion of just like one Parallel City in every list just to get rid of your shamans so you don't just so they couldn't target whistle them back. That's literally why Parallel City became almost staple now. It is a one of is because of target whistle, which is kind of crazy for a card that never saw any play until this standard with Night March.
I mean, you saw a little play with Toe, but not that much, really.
No, not as much in the. I'm talking about in like major like competitive play where you'll see it in like 70% of lists where they're just like, I'm just gonna knock out as many shamans as possible.
Yeah.
And that's why decks like Greninja were just they turned into like I'm playing 3 Jirachis now and I'm gonna get rid of all your DCs and I don't play any shamans. That's why those decks start doing really well later on in the week 3, week 4 because originally they were playing like 1 or 2 shamans just to like set up and they're like, I think it'd be better if I just play 3 or 4 Jirachi and not play shamans.
Yeah, that definitely works out for them. So, final question is, where do you sit right now in terms of championships? And do you feel comfortable about making your Worlds invite or not?
right now, because I took the first 6 months off of this format, trying
Wow.
to finish up my school stuff. So I think I'm at like 100, even after states, and I did a couple league challenges and regional, and I did the regionals, the St. Louis regional. So I'm at 100 right now, I think.
That's about a third of the way there.
Yeah. So I'm going to most of the spring regionals, and then I got nationals, and I think I got 3 more league challenges I can finish at. So I'm not confident. I'm not like hoping that like yeah or not hoping. I got this in the bag like most people do. But if I do well, if I just like top 8 or top 4 one regional, I'm just like very close to it. I think that will put me one. It's at 110. So that'd be 210, and then so I would do top 16 at another one.
Yeah.
So I this all comes down to if I can top 4 or top 8 a couple of these regionals right now, which I'm not hoping, but it's possible. It's possible. I'm you know I'm not trying to be gloating about it, but
It's always possible.
yeah.
You never know what can happen. I only
Mhm.
have 30 championship points, and you never know. I could do well at nationals.
Right,
Not likely, but you never know.
right.
That's why we play this game, right? It can be kind of unpredictable at times.
Hmm.
But anyway, I do hope that you manage to squeak your way into Worlds or do well, get your way into Worlds. And
Thank
I really do hope so. And thank you once again for sharing your list with us and your
Sure.
being on this channel in general.
No problem.
And thank you for everyone for tuning in today and watching this video. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please stay tuned for future content and future interviews and Decklist profiles. And until then, please like, subscribe, all that silly stuff. And I shall see you guys hopefully next time.